Hi, how are you doing? Good afternoon. It's another Cuppa with Kiki, and welcome to my Cuppa with Kiki. Cheers. This is a very lovely afternoon, and it's actually very sunny here. I'm so excited. Spring is coming. Spring is coming. Spring. Oh, spring is coming, and it's so beautiful to see that the weather is beginning to show up well and right, so that I will begin to enjoy the bliss of summer. Hooray! Anyways, this month of March, we're going to be talking about motherhood, our journeys in the process of parenting boys and raising boys. What I want to talk about is my journey of change as a mother, my journey, my experiences, what I've been through over the years as a mother, particularly a mother raising boys. I love raising my boys. I've just enjoyed it. Now, I say to people that doesn't mean I've not had those, oh no, God, moments. Oh yeah, sure, trust me. I've got a lot of that, plenty of those moments. But what does that mean to me? It means that, seeing us come out on the other side, seeing us enjoying the beauty of just being together as a family, being their mom, it's also something I'm always grateful to God for. Now, there is a lot of backstories in terms of all those God moments, but one thing I want to say is that I have learned a lot and I have grown a lot in that process. And one beautiful thing that happened on Sunday was while we were getting ready for church, one of my boys said, I can't remember what we're talking about, but one of them actually said, "Mom, you should be thankful to me." And I'm like, "Why? What happened?" And he said, "I raised you and I've raised you well." And I was like, "You raised me? Hello, excuse me. How, from where to where?" And when we got talking about it, I just realized that yes, my children are a major part of my character development. My children have been a major part of my journey, my personal development, my journey into who I am today. They're like a major part of my why. So when you say God is, my purpose is God driven, I think I can confidently say it's also my children driven as well as God driven. So what are these challenges? What has the journey been like? It's been beautiful raising boys. It's actually been beautiful. When you're raising boys, they're like your mini husbands. They're doting on you. They're taking care of you. They don't want anything happening to mom. They don't want mom going through anything tough. They're watching out for you. And again, you're learning from them, right? So those have been the beautiful part of it. And also it's been very rewarding in that watching my children, the things I've taught my children while they were younger, watching it materialize, watching them evolve into those awesome, great men, it's been amazing. So, an example is, for instance, when you've taught your child to tidy up or to do something to tidy up, let's just tidy up after themselves. You've taught your child to tidy up after themselves, and then later on, it seemed like it was tough while you're teaching them. But then as they go out of the house, go into uni, you visit them, or they come home, they visit the house, and you see how much they tidy up after themselves. It's just so fulfilling. That's like a tiny bit out of the lot, I'm using that tidy up because a lot of mothers, a lot of parents complain and they have issues with boys cleaning up after themselves, so seeing all of that, or when you corrected them or told them something and they come back and kind of appreciate you, or you see them say, that thing you taught me when I was younger. I remember when my boys were younger, when I say, "Come guys, let's talk," my youngest son would say, Mom, is it life lessons? Is it about life lessons? So that's a standing joke for me now, because I always talk about how they ask me if what I'm talking about is about life lessons, and we laugh about it. But these days, when I see the life lessons, those moments of life lessons, hey mama, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, when I see the moments of life lessons begin to materialize, and with a living those life lessons, it's very rewarding for me, and it makes me know that, oh, it was worth it. The journey was worth it. So maybe this is an encourage to any mother that is watching this, to say that, see, there is light at the end of the tunnel. My mentor just said that to me a couple of minutes ago, that Kiki, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So mama, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Does it mean that, oh, we should just leave everything? No, there is that part of work. I say that Apostle James says in the book of James, it says, show me your faith and I'll show you my faith by my work. I'll show you my faith by my results. So there is that place of the work so that we can get the results even when we're having faith. So put in the work, put in the effort, be intentional about how you raise your voice. For me, I had in mind the kind of men I want my boys to become. And so that's based on the word of God. And so we started from the future in mind. Who do we want our sons to become? What kind of boys do we want our sons to become? And we began to work towards that future as their parents. Also, the challenges I faced when they were younger. I think one major challenge for me was, being able to balance my time and the time they demand, the time they need. So my job when they were a lot younger, so we had an agreement that, whatever it is, we're going to make do with whatever we have. And so I wasn't going to work, full-time work or work for anyone until our youngest will be 6. So that was part of what we agreed when we were getting married. So I didn't work. I had businesses here and there, but there was no, that I could control. So there was no going to the office and those kind of that. I wouldn't have time for them until they were 6. So just about then, we relocated to the UK just before my youngest 6th birthday. We relocated to the UK, and so as it was clocking 6, I had now went into into work, not necessarily full time, but the demands of things in the UK. So I really, really struggled with balancing the time they needed and balancing work and cleaning up and tidying up, and the fact that there was nobody to help. So I remember that there was a time that I used to be very cranky. Oh my word. I used to be very cranky. Any little thing, I'm like almost upset or kind of upset. What's happening? And so at some point, when I saw that, this is not who I want to be to my children. This is not the kind of mother I want to be, or the kind of wife I want to be, or the kind of girl I want to even be to myself. Yeah, because I matter to me as well. So what I did was a very bold step. One day I just came home, I said to my husband, you know what, I'm taking time off work. So first of all, I took 3 months off work, and while I took those 3 months of work, all I did was focus on my boys. Just focus on my children. Then I'd not even started Joshua Army. I had the vision, but I didn't even know what it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to map out. So I just said, you know what, I want to focus on my boys. So I took 3 months of work. I think they call it career lifestyle break. Yes, lifestyle break. Took 3 months of work and focused on my boys. Those were like, the things I discovered about my boys, the things that the amount of time we spent together just reminded me of when they were babies, toddlers, that I wasn't really working and I was having so much time with them. So we took those 3 months of work and I started to stay with them at home, do everything with them and everything. So when it was time for me to go back to work, I was like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back, because that work was really taking all of my time. It was really time consuming. So I went back to work and I said, knowing the seasons of our lives, those 3 months, I can bet. Yes, so there were there wasn't even money to throw around, but it had a lot to do. And I think those 3 months were, when they were now crossing into secondary school, it was just timely. God just helped me. There was no money to buy all these fine earrings and hair and everything, but I think it was that period I even cut my hair for the first time, because I was just like, what, every little helps. And so we went through. So after the 3 months, I was like, okay, now I want to go back to work, but I don't want to go back to that job. I want to go back to a kind of job that I would have time for my children. Even if I have to be away during the week, at least weekend, I'm at home with them. And you know what? I am grateful I made that decision. Remember, it was because of my children I made the decision in the first place, but the result has not only been for my children, it's been for me as a person. I've seen the results in my marriage, even in ministry, because it was after that Joshua's Army started. I had time to even begin to think about Joshua's Army. I had time to wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm not bathing to be able to dash out of the house by 5 a.m. to go and start work at 6 a.m. I would resume work like everybody would and come back home like everybody would. And it was weekend, I would be at home, go to church, take care of my children. And it was just so beautiful after that break. So what I did was, I kind of went to say, okay, what kind of job do I want to do? Then after that, I went looking for people to help me, train me, the skills I need. And then I began to look. One of my friends says, people jump one floor at a time. You jumped from first floor to 20th floor. That was what I did. I was a risk taker when it came to my job at that time. I was just like, what, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And I went for it. And like I said, it not only helped me. I even have people, I don't talk about this a lot outside, because I love to focus on one thing. But I have people I coach, I mentor in the career space as well, just from that one decision. So it's not only helped me, but it's also helping a lot of other people today. And then the highlight that came out from I think I've touched on that. So I'm reading the questions that were sent to me. So guys, so the third question is highlights of how you overcame those challenges. And I think I've touched on it. The challenges of that I thought that I wasn't having enough time. I dote on my boys. I love those boys. God, I love those boys. I beg. Not just my biological boys now, but all the boys that God is putting in my space. Jolugbo, I see you. Ojolako is a mother of 2 of my boys, and she knows that she can never win with me when it comes to those boys. She can never win. And you know what? I think it's just like, when the Bible says the love of God is shed abroad in my heart, the love of God has just been shed abroad in my heart for boys, for men, for the male gender. And so what am I doing with that love is ensuring that, I'm going to channel this love to mean something, to make out something for our boys, to make out something for our boys and even our men, So, why is it okay? So, talking about that as well, I also love community, and over the years, I have deliberately, intentionally built communities for myself. So I have friends that I go to when I have questions. I have people in my circle that I go to for different things. So, and I always say that if you're in my circle, you have something I have to be able to add to your life, and you have to be able to add on to my life as well, irrespective of how small. So some of you are joining this now, and you're my friends. Ojolako is one. Adiola Vox is another good friend. She's my prayer partner. We have to be able to add on to our lives. We have to be fulfilling some kind of purpose in our lives. I know it's not just me, because my friends are not like that as well. Enough of the women that there is no woman anymore that I will just hanging out to gist and gossip. We don't even have time for that, And this is part of being deliberate. This is part of what I learned as a mother, that that you don't have time. Before I do career, before I do husband, before I do children, before I do ministry, there is no time. So every little time, I remember there was a day I'd not spoken to Adiola for a long time, and when we spoke, we were on the call for about 1 hour or more. touching on various aspects and encouraging each other, and we pick on this and we pray and we pick on that and we talk, and that's what friendship is to me. Having people in my circle that I can be vulnerable with. They're very few, but I've got them. So I'm encouraging everybody to have that as well. Seek help when you need it, particularly when it comes to your children. Thank you, sis, and I love you too. Ojolakwe, thank you. She says, when I said she's got my son, she said she has given up, and then she's now saying that, but she's enjoying it that she has given up, because you don't have a choice, because there's nothing you can do to me and those my boys, right? They're mine. Thank you for keeping them for me. But when I come, I can carry them. I have the license to carry my children. But those are like the benefits. And I am a member of various community, but in fairness, one thing I've struggled to find is a community for mothers of boys like myself, where we are able to share, to talk, be authentic, be vulnerable with ourselves, because the challenge is real. Trust me. The challenge is real. But can we do it alone? I said to people, even my children, I said, when God created us, one of the very first things he said was, so we can fellowship. So we can fellowship. So one of the major things, purpose and thing God put in us is, the forefront is fellowshipping. You can't do life alone. It's not possible, because that's not how God created us. Doing life alone, that's when you hear people say the person is depressed, depression, anxiety, social anxiety, all kinds of names are being tagged to that. But it's because God has not created us to be that. You got to do life with people. Who are the people in your corner? Who are the people in your community? Some women, when they gather, my husband is all men are like that. All boys are. Those are not the kind of people in my corner. Oh, this happened. Okay. So what can we do better? How can we resolve this? Okay, what are our confessions? What are we doing? And that's all men are. It's not in my corner at all. In fact, there was a time when people would say, oh, all men are. I say, no, except mine. Mine is a good man, is a beautiful man. And I began to see the reality of that. So check the people in your community, check the people in your corner, and check the things you guys say to yourselves about your children. And so, in Joshua's Army, or with me, Bukola Jolugbo, I'm launching a new initiative, the Naomi's Tribe, which is a tribe for mothers, Christian mothers of boys. Remember, I said earlier on, the people in your community, be intentional about it, and people with like minds, people with the same faith with you, people with the same belief, these people with the same mentality, the same mindset, similar mindset, similar mentality. We're coming together to raise a community of mothers of boys. There's something I think it was my husband that first said it. We watched an Igbo movie, and Nigerian Igbo movie, and on the movie, the mother of the king was referred to as Queen Mother. And I said, oh, I love that. So sometimes my husband calls me Queen Mother, because my sons are kings. Yeah. They're royalties, So I am a Queen Mother. So we are coming together as Queen Mothers. If you look at Naomi's tribe, if you look at Naomi was a Queen Mother as well. Even though her sons died, I always say Naomi must have done something to her sons that they did to their wives that made the wives say, this mother it is. Even though her husbands are no longer there, it is this mother. So when people say that Ruth went, or in Yoruba, they say Ruth died with her her husband. I say no, Ruth did not. Ruth followed her mother-in-law. It was her mother-in-law. But for her to follow her mother-in-law, the mother-in-law must have they must have seen some things in their sons, in their husbands, the woman's sons, and then in the woman as well. So for me, for Naomi's tribe, we are women that are full, that are rounded. We know our God. Naomi knew who our God. Man, that woman had faith. And even in the midst of it, she was like, you know what? I know my God, and I know my God will do exploits. The woman is a woman of strategy. Can you see the way she strategized and positioned Ruth? Kashabaka. That woman, I just love the way she positioned Ruth. She's a businesswoman to the core. See the way she strategized even the business idea of how Ruth will go and glean from the farm, the farmlands and what she would do. Naomi was a mentor as well, a good coach to her children, to her sons, to her daughters-in-law. She was a prayerful woman that even when things did not go well, she told her husband they should not leave Bethlehem, but they left. And when it didn't go well, she didn't say, I told him, he did. She continued. I can write, I can go on and on and on about Naomi's life, the kind of woman she was, and why I love her. And so when God gave me the vision for us Christian mothers of boys coming together, it was Naomi he painted for me. It was Naomi's life he showed to me. And 3 years ago, I'd written the name Naomi's Tribe. So when the vision began to come and 2023 came and God said it's time to launch Naomi's Tribe, I was like, what are we going to call it? And I went, guess what? One of the names I called it was Moms with Kiki. And I'm like, no, Moms with Kiki. I'm not feeling that name. And so I told my mentor. My mentor said, no, not Moms with Kiki, because this group is bigger than you. So it's not anything with Kiki. It's bigger than Kiki. So what are we going to call it? And one day I was just meditating and it just clicked. So I just clicked that I should go and search my drives, my G drive. And I went on and I was searching and I just saw the name Naomi's Tribe pop up. I was like, that is it, Naomi's Tribe. That's the name God gave me 3 years ago when that vision for mothers dropped in my heart. So it's not just a vision. It's just not another circle of mothers, but a circle of Christian mothers of boys. I belong to a couple of groups online for mama, boys, mommy, and all of that. But I'm sometimes just like, this is not possible. How can you do that and expect a different result? So we're going to be strategizing. We're going to be, I'm so excited. Let me not go on and on about Naomi's Tribe. I think what they said I should talk about today is my journey as a mother of boys. So I think that's like a good highlight of my journey as a mother of boys. Do I have any question on here? I've touched on the question. So talk about my journey, the challenges I faced, the highlights, how I overcame those challenges, and then my circle, my community of friends. So guys, I hope this has helped you. If you're a mother of boys, you're watching this, I hope this has helped you. If you need any further help, if you have further questions or things you want somebody to touch on or look at with you, please reach out to me at Kiki. Send me an email to just at kiki@joshuazami.co.uk. So my email address is kiki@joshuazami.co.uk, and I'll be right there with you talking through this. Also, you can check my bio on Instagram, which is at Kiki Boys Mama, for a link to book an appointment with me. It's absolutely free of charge, no obligation. Just there to talk to you. We need sometimes to talk to somebody. We need to be able to air it out with somebody. The people that I know, a lot of women that have come to me and, it was a case of my son, and then how it's beginning to affect their marriages and, walking through it and, the result they're seeing today. And I just give God all the glory because I've been there. Hey, trust me, when parenting and marriage were clashing, everything I've been there, but God has brought me through it. And one thing I thank God that as I go through things in life, I document, and as God is giving me the process, as God is giving me the strategy, I document the strategy, this process, and that's what I share with people. So, like I said, reach out to me if you need to talk, if you need somebody to hold your hand. Go on my Instagram, Kiki Boys Mama. On my link, bio, click on the link there and book a session free with me, and let's get on this together. Cheers, and I love you all. God bless. Bye.